It's been a whirlwind, obviously. I'm glad now that I can just go out and play baseball.
We're just looking forward to just putting forth the effort with this team and being able to try and make a difference, win some ball games.
It's been good. I mean, I'm locker mates with Kutch. I think we're both excited at how excited the organization is to have us.
The amount of very good arms with quality stuff that we have here in this Mets organization, I promise you nobody else has that.
It takes a certain type of player, person, team to rebound and refocus, and each day to get better to put ourselves in that same situation this year.
Hey everyone, welcome to 1225 Live. I'm Alexa Datt, and this is the spring training preview that you have all been waiting for. We are going to head live down to Tampa to talk about the new Bronx Bombers dynamic duo, Aaron Judge and Giancarlo Stanton. We're going to have Meredith Markovitz join us in just a little bit from the Yes Network. She covers that team all season long, and she has been for several years, so she's going to fill us in not only on those two players, but on the latest with Greg Bird's health and the expectations from this rotation and what this team is expecting in this division so far this year. Maybe this rivalry between the Yankees and the Red Sox is reunited finally. I don't know. We'll see. We'll ask Meredith about that. Plus, we're going to have Anthony Castrovince join us in just a little bit. He's got high expectations for the Phillies this year. He was in camp with them, so we'll discuss that as well. And plus, he's going to give us a story, a throwback story from when Cliff Lee was in camp, and gave us a kind of a skin crawl version of a weird story from there. So we'll explain all of that. But we are starting the way that we usually start every show, with Dani Wexelman, who is down in Dunedin, and she is at Blue Jays camp. Dani, it is so good to see you with your beautiful tan. Man, I'm so jealous that you get to be in that sunshine right now.
I'm going to bring some of the sunshine back to you, Lex. We are in Blue Jays camp, and you can see behind me, they've actually wrapped up. So, unfortunately, there's nothing going on, but there was a lot of BP going on today. Nothing going on with the pitchers, but the guys were getting their hacks in the cages today.
All right, sounds good. So what is the buzz in camp? What's the number one thing everyone's talking about?
All right, the word of the day is confidence, Lex. It's confidence. These guys raved about their starting five. Every guy who came through the line was talking about Aaron Sanchez, Marcus Stroman, J.A. Happ, all of those guys. Pitching coach Pete Walker said that Aaron Sanchez has been outstanding. And when I talked to Sanchez today, he said no big deal about the blister, no worries. He's confident heading into the season. And you know what else is new? This outfield. Kevin Pillar is now joined by Randall Grichuk and your guy, Curtis Granderson. And I talked to these guys. Kevin Pillar reached out to them right when they signed, and he said, hey, I want to get to know you, not just as the ball player, but as a person. And then he went on and told me this story about him and Grandy stayed late one day after practice, and he felt bad. So Grandy ended up buying Pillar a Starbucks gift card and a Toys R Us gift card for his kid because he felt so bad. And then the other guy I want to tell you about is Roberto Osuna. And pitching coach Pete Walker also called him outstanding. 23 years old, coming off an all-star season, second in saves. And this guy is ready to go to battle. He is the confidence is sky high, and he's ready to go to battle for his team this season. And then Marcus Stroman, I had a nice chat with him as well, and he said he is ready to be in the conversation with guys like Clayton Kershaw and Max Scherzer and Corey Kluber. He wants to be in the elite company. And like I said, literally exuding confidence. It's coming off of them. If you could smell confidence, I would have smelt it off of these guys. And the other thing too, Lex, I wanted to tell you about is all 30 major league teams this weekend will be wearing baseball caps to support and show their support for the Parkland High School where that shooting was. And I talked to Curtis Granderson, and he said that it's unfortunate that we have to keep talking about it, but it's amazing that while they're at spring training, they can show their support and do something for this high school and these kids. And the other cool thing, Lex, was this video that I want to show you. Troy Tulowitzki at Photo Day. Now, I don't know if the photographer knew it or not, but Tulo was posing like he was a pitcher. And so if you can see this video now, basically Tulo is convincing everybody, especially this photographer, that he's a pitcher. So he's going through the motions, and the photog's just getting all of the video. And it was amazing, to say the least. And you know what? Always learning something new here, Lex, learning something new. And I'm going to show you this video that we put together today about our neighbors up north. Take a look. All right, I'm with Jordan Romano. He's going to draw a card, and then he's going to answer a question. You ready?
Ready.
Okay, so it goes at the top. What do you got?
I got a 7.
Okay. dinner with someone from the present or the past. Who would you go with?
I'd probably go to dinner with Wayne Gretzky.
Any particular reason?
He's probably the most famous Canadian I know. And, you know, hockey and Canada go hand in hand, so I'd go Wayne Gretzky.
Food I can't live without. I would go with breakfast. I love breakfast. Pancakes.
Bacon?
Bacon, eggs, pancakes.
Canadian bacon?
I haven't had that yet. I think I have, but I'm not too sure, but I'm excited to try it.
We got a bunch of jokesters. I mean, we don't have like a team comedian, someone that sits around and tells jokes, but I think the beauty of this clubhouse is whether you're a guy that's stepping into this clubhouse for the first time, you're a Josh Donaldson MVP, you're a guy that's been in this organization your whole career, everyone's fair game, coaching staff included.
Your favorite emojis, and you have to do the emoji that you love.
Favorite emoji would be the guy that, you know, has his hand like it.
The facepalm?
Facepalm, because I do questionable stuff sometimes, and I just find myself doing that.
The love emoji with the hearts inside, just...
Great one.
A player that I'm looking forward to playing against.
I guess Chris Sale. I faced him once in spring training, and he was pretty good. And knowing that he's one of the top guys.
He's pretty good, right?
No,
he's decent.
Yeah, he's very good.
I would definitely say, I mean, most of the pitchers in our division, the Chris Archers, the David Price, the Chris Sales, the Luis Severino, you know, when you want to be the best, you got to face the best, you got to beat the best, and those are guys I like to stack myself up against.
If I make it up to the big leagues this year, I'd like to face Carlos Correa, because he hit a really big homer off me in the WBC, and I want to try to get him out this time.
It's a pretty good answer. He's pretty good.
He's pretty good, yeah.
Dani, I absolutely love that. That was fantastic. A couple of takeaways. I love that Gift Ngoepe's favorite emoji is the hearts emoji. That was pretty cool, and watching him act that out was probably my favorite. And we need to get him some Canadian bacon, man.
I know. I can't believe that wasn't the first thing that came to his head. These guys were such good sports about this, too. A couple other things, Lex, I forgot to mention that you'll really like. Roberto Osuna said that he's very excited that Randall Grichuk is now on the Blue Jays, so he does not have to face him at the plate. And I was watching this guy, by the way, take some swings, and he hit a couple over the fence. So did Steve Pearce. I mean, these guys can really hack it. And you'll like this, too. I asked Josh Donaldson, I said, you know, seeing the Yankees bolster with Stanton and now he's pairing with Judge, does that add fuel to your fire? And Donaldson's like, I already have enough fuel to my fire. But yeah, they have a pretty good lineup out there. So, you know, I think that the Blue Jays are going to be able to bring some power. They've got that rotation. Again, if Aaron Sanchez, he seems to be the key. That blister can stay healthy. I think these guys are going to be right up there in competition.
All right, well, I'm going to have you actually predict where they're going to end up, because that's where our fan question is coming from today. Reg says, where do you think the Jays are going to end up this year in the standings?
Okay, well, this is a tricky one. Now, Mark Feinsand actually predicted second, and I said that the Rays were going to come in second, and then that blew up in my face completely. So if I can a mulligan, I'd like to go Yankees. I'm going to go Blue Jays, Red Sox. I'm going to go with Feinsand. I'm still putting Red Sox in third. What do you got, Lex?
Wow. Oh, my goodness. Listen, I have a lot of faith in this Blue Jays team. I think they're going to have a great year, but there's no way they finish ahead of the Red Sox. You have the Red Sox not only losing the division, but coming in third place? Nah, man, I can't take that. No way, especially with the addition of J.D. Martinez. Maybe before J.D. Martinez, you could get away with that, but not so fast. But I do like a lot of the pieces that they brought in, and I do feel like they're going to have a bounce-back year. So I'm on the same page with you and Feinsand on that.
Yeah, it's super exciting. Getting to see it in person is totally different, and watching them go about their business. You know, the other questions, too, were about Devin Travis and Troy Tulowitzki and their health, and both those guys were out here today. They looked pretty good, didn't seem to be too concerned about being ready for opening day. So I think they're being underestimated. But again, you never know. It all depends on when you get on the field and you get ready to play. So it's been so fun here, Lex. I've had a blast, and hopefully I'll be back soon and we can hang out in person.
Yeah, absolutely. I look forward to that, Dani, as you zigzag all over the state of Florida, bringing us all kinds of great information. Really appreciate it, Dani. Make sure you put that sunscreen on, okay? We want to make sure you stay healthy. We'll see you later.
Thanks, Lex. Great to see you. I'll talk soon.
All right, sounds good. Thank you. All right, time for our question of the day, and today it is a caption contest. We love doing this because you guys give us such great answers. Here is the photo we want you to caption. What caption would you come up with? This is Mike Trout and Shohei Ohtani driving around Angels camp there. You obviously see the entourage of reporters and photographers following them around as they speed through all of the traffic in this golf cart. So we want you to come up with a caption for this photo. Make sure you send it in to us either on Facebook or on Twitter, and we can let you all decide what could be the best caption for that. By the way, we came up with one. This is just to start everyone off. Our producer came up with this. Hey, check it out. Shohei's chauffeur. Ha 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 ha. So that's good, kind of. That's where we're starting, though. So let's try and get maybe a better caption, and we'll see where we go from there. We're counting on you guys. We're going to talk to Meredith Markovitz in Tampa in just a second and talk a little bit more about the Yankees. I know you guys are itching to hear more about the Yankees and what's going on down there in Tampa. But before we do that, we're going to talk a little bit about what is going on, north of the southern happenings down there in camp. And Russell Wilson has been really excited to join the Yankees camp down there. And this is going to be really fun to see because for him, he's not only, a winner on the football field, but he's hoping to make some waves down there in camp, at least getting to help some of those younger guys. Take a listen to what Russell Wilson said as he's excited to join the Yankees camp.
Hey, New York City, I'm here. I got the Yankees hat on. I'm headed to spring training on Monday. I can't wait to see you guys February 26th. We're going to have some fun for that week. And hey, Aaron Judge, I know you want to throw some ball passes, so let's play some ball, and we'll see. We'll have a little home run derby, too. Stanton, I'm coming for you, too. We'll have some fun, baby. I'll see you guys. Hey, and let's go win a World Series. Why not? Peace.
Russell Wilson is excited to get down there to Tampa. We're heading to Tampa right now as we welcome in Meredith Markovitz, who covers the Yankees for Yes Network. Meredith, thank you so much for joining us. Are you excited to see Russell Wilson in camp?
It's going to be interesting. Anytime you have a guy that's won a championship in any sport, you can obviously count on him shedding some light on what it takes to be a championship caliber team. So I know the Yankees are really excited to have him down here. And it's funny watching some of the guys talk about Russell Wilson that are very successful in their own right in the sport of baseball, get excited about another professional athlete coming in is kind of cool. I know CC Sabathia is excited. Dylan Betances is excited. A lot of guys excited to get to know Russell Wilson.
The other excitement down there this week at camp was watching Giancarlo Stanton and Aaron Judge hit BP and have a home run battle between the two of them. You had a front row seat to that. What's this power like up close when you actually get to see it in person?
Alexa, wait, was that a big deal? I don't think we heard about that anywhere this week. It's crazy. First batting practice of the swing, and when you're talking of the spring, and when you're talking about Aaron Judge, he had that off-season shoulder clean out, so he really hasn't been swinging as much as he typically would have coming into spring training. So it's the first time that he was in a cage with live pitching in a long time. Maybe didn't live up to the hype because fans think that every time they swing, they're going to hit the ball out. They are getting their work in. They are trying to prepare for the season, but just watching these two guys with ease send it over the fence is pretty cool to see. And you have to imagine that now is going to be as exciting at times this season as opposed to the game. I mean, people are going to be coming early just to watch Yankees batting practice, which doesn't often happen.
Yeah, I know they opened the gates even earlier down there at Steinbrenner Field to get some of the fans in to not miss a swing. So nice job there by the Yankees. The other news in camp was the fact that the team traded for the Diamondbacks second baseman Brandon Drury, and it's going to be an interesting position battle between Miguel Andujar and then Gleyber Torres. So opening day, who do you believe is going to be the second baseman and the third baseman for the Yankees?
Well, if I had to guess, second baseman is either probably going to be Ronald Torreyes. I think Tyler Wade is in the running there, although everyone would love to see Gleyber Torres. You look at the amount of at-bats he had last year in the minors. Yes, he had Tommy John on his non-throwing arm. That's not an issue anymore, but I think there is a benefit to giving him a little bit more seasoning. Also, you have to think about the clock, starting the service time clock. If they wait just a little, they can bring Gleyber Torres up later in the season and then obviously have a full year extra of control of him. Now, I could see a situation where he just blows everyone out of the water and the Yankees' hand is kind of forced in that regard. But I think their ideal situation would be to start Gleyber Torres in the minors. And then you look at third base, that's really Drury's job to lose Miguel Andujar in that hunt. But I still think there are some questions defensively with Andujar. Aaron Boone said the other day, this guy is going to hit and hit for a long time in the majors. It's whether or not the defense is there at this point in time. So I would say you're looking at a mismatch of things at second base. And even go back to last year when Torreyes filled in for Didi Gregorius for a month and played very well. He's proven in short spurts he can have success. So I wouldn't be surprised if they went that direction. Also, Espinosa in camp, that's an option as well. So there are a couple battles here on the Yankees roster, and it's going to be fun to watch throughout the course of this spring.
All right, let's talk about first base. We know Greg Bird has an injury history, unfortunately, dealt with that shoulder, and last year the ankle. How concerned are the Yankees with his injury history and, what that would mean for first base this season?
Well, they believe that Greg Bird is going to find a way to make it through this season healthy, despite the fact that he has had some issues in the past. And when you go back to last year, that was really a freak injury. It wasn't like an ongoing thing. Last game of spring training, he fouled a ball off of his foot while playing the Phillies in Clearwater and was just never the same. And he eventually made it back at the end of the season, and you saw just how good he can be when he is healthy. The Yankees have huge expectations for this guy. They believe he's a middle-of-the-order hitter that can have a major impact, and he is most likely going to be the guy, as long as he is healthy, that's going to split up Aaron Judge and Giancarlo Stanton. They think that he is going to be a guy that can hit 30-plus home runs. So you add that bat to the lineup as well, and you're looking at a pretty devastating lineup for opposing pitching. But as you mentioned, Alexa, health is the biggest question mark with Greg Bird. But right now, he said he's feeling good. He is healthy. It's just keeping him that way throughout the course of the season. Should something happen to Bird, it looks as though Drury could play a little bit of first base in a pinch. Austin Romine has played first base in a pinch, and there's still Tyler Austin, who could potentially make his way onto the roster that could fill in there at first base.
All right, so they got some depth, which is good, especially for a team looking to make a return back to, especially the run they made last year was pretty incredible, and you're going to need depth in order to do that. All right, so with this lineup, it's going to be really, interesting to see how Aaron Boone creates this lineup. He said in the offseason he was waking up in the middle of the night, jotting down lineups, trying to figure out exactly how this will work. Come opening day, though, how do you believe the lineup will look?
Well, I think it's going to depend who's on the mound, whether it be a righty or a lefty. I think it will see changes throughout the course of the season, depending on matchup. But I got to believe that Brett Gardner is going to lead off. I think either Stanton or Judge will hit second. Right now, I'll pencil him at second. Greg Bird hitting third. Giancarlo Stanton hitting fourth. Then that brings you to Gary Sanchez, Didi Gregorius, Aaron Hicks, and whoever else is playing second and third. That's the way I believe the lineup is most likely going to shake out, but a lot can happen from now until the end of March. But so much power potential in that lineup from so many different guys.
So exciting to see, and I know Yankees fans are as well, getting a little taste of it down there in spring training. Let's talk about this rotation. CC Sabathia is back. You got Masahiro Tanaka staying put. Luis Severino, a Cy Young finalist last year. How confident are the Yankees in this rotation when you compare them to the rotations of the Astros and the Red Sox?
The Yankees feel good about their rotation right now, but Brian Cashman will be the first to tell you he is always looking, always trying to upgrade. But right now, the price has just been too high, and the Yankees weren't willing to either part with the prospects or give the money that would be necessary to acquire one of those high-end starters in that free agent market. They believe Masahiro Tanaka is going to have a better year than he had last year. If you go back to last year, he struggled to start the season, just couldn't find his way. CC Sabathia did an unbelievable job of reinventing himself, and he calls himself more of a pitcher now, not just a thrower, and said he wishes he knew then what he knows now. He thinks he could have been even better than he was when he was winning Cy Youngs. Sonny Gray had a little bit of a rough playoff stretch, but we've seen what he can do in Oakland. They feel very good about Sonny Gray. And Luis Severino, I mean, he still has not hit his ceiling. You've seen at times during stretches that he can be dominant. They're looking for him to do that for a full season. And Jordan Montgomery, really the wild card. You got to believe in his sophomore season that he'll be a little bit more seasoned than he was his rookie year. But they like what they've seen from Jordan Montgomery. And let's not forget, they have some guys in the minors, like a Chance Adams or a Justice Sheffield, that are really right there. They are close to getting to the major league level. So there's a little bit of depth there when you talk about the rotation and the minors. But if they can get an experienced veteran starter, you better believe Brian Cashman is going to try to do so.
Meredith, I don't know if you heard this yesterday, but Michael Kay asked GM Brian Cashman how he feels about the Yankees compared to the Red Sox, and he called them the little engine that could. How are the Yankees the underdogs in this rivalry?
Well, I mean, first of all, let's talk about that Daily News cover. That's absurd. I need to know who's in the middle there. I couldn't decide. I think it's Gary Sanchez in the middle there. What do we think?
Yeah, I think so too.
You know, you look at the fact that the Red Sox won the AL East last year, and that's why he says it. They haven't won anything yet. Yes, they look great on paper. The lineup looks to be amazing, but we haven't seen them play one game yet. And until you go out there and prove yourself, I think that's where Brian Cashman was coming from. You really can't call yourself the top of the AL East or the top of the American League in general. And you even saw that with so much hype and so much emphasis on this Yankees team. Justin Verlander reminding people about a week ago, hey, we were the ones that were there last year. We were the ones that won it all. The Yankees haven't won anything yet. And CC Sabathia actually seconded that. He said, I'm not getting involved in this. We need to win it if we want to be the top dog and be known as the top dog. So a lot of potential, a lot of high expectations this year. But the fact of the matter is they have not gone out there and got the job done yet. So we'll see.
All right, Meredith, before we let you go, I stole 2 things off your IG story. I hope that's okay, but I wanted to ask you about them. I know the fans down there are so awesome, so I saw this fan, I believe his name was Luis, who brought you a laminated copy of the newspaper article about your high school Wall of Fame induction, and your section was highlighted, and I thought, man, how awesome are the fans down there in Florida?
Super cool, but I do have some questions about this, Alexa. How long has he been holding on that laminated paper? Because that was like 3 or 4 years ago. So while I appreciate the dedication, I have so many questions for Mr. Luis.
All right. From weird to even weirder, this super grossed me out today, Meredith. You're in 7-Eleven. You're just trying to get a gas receipt, and this dude is showing up without shoes on. What is going on down there?
Like, what? I mean, that's like, it takes me back in the day. Remember when Britney Spears was a hot mess and she was going to all the gas stations buying like Cheetos in her bare feet and using the restroom? It just reminded me of that for some reason. But pretty disgusting. And I couldn't stop looking at it. And I'm like, oh, don't do that. Don't do that. Don't take that picture. So I didn't get his like full body and head in it because I didn't want to, you know, publicly embarrass anyone. But dude, put some shoes on. It's just
I'm telling you, Florida has all kinds of really cool and really weird people. Only in Florida, though, I'm telling you. All right, we got one fan question for you from Marcus before we let you go. Which Yankee will likely be DHing at the start of the season, he wants to know.
That's a good one. I mean, it's going to be either Aaron Judge or Giancarlo Stanton, but that's going to be a revolving door, a rotation of sorts. They want to make sure that Aaron Judge stays fresh for the season. He had the shoulder issue. He was playing a lot of outfield, obviously running into walls. They want to prevent those type of injuries, and with Stanton as well. So you're going to see those 2 guys get reps, and you're also going to see Gary Sanchez get some reps there, and whoever else might need just a half day. So I think that's going to be a revolving door, but day one, that's going to be tough. That's going to be tough. I want to say Stanton, maybe Stanton. We'll see.
Okay, sounds good. Meredith, thank you so much. Appreciate all the information, and we'll catch up with you when you're back in New York.
Sounds good.
Talk soon. All right, we've been talking all season about Gabe Kapler, the Phillies' new manager, and his really unorthodox style. Well, Nick Williams found out how this unorthodox style rolls firsthand when he basically almost cost himself some cash when he had a BP session and a trip to the auto body shop. But then his manager stepped in and saved him at the last minute. Take a listen.
The time, early afternoon, Tuesday, in the Mike Schmidt batting cage. The batter, Nick Williams. About 430 feet later, that ball traveled over the fence on the Schmidt field and found the roof of manager Gabe Kapler's rent-a-car.
I just missed Cesar's, and Cesar was like, hey, that's my car. And then they go, that one's Kapler's over there. I'm not going to say I intentionally tried to hit it, but when I hit it, I knew whose car it was.
What I hear is that it was off the bat of Nick Williams. Right. And because it was off the bat, I would trade a Nick Williams home run for a dent in a rental car any day of the week.
Because he told the media, I'll trade a ding in my car for a Nick Williams home run any day.
I'm glad he said that because they felt kind of good to hit it.
Awesome. I love this style. I love the fact that he's mixing it up and trying something different. It's pretty cool. And Anthony Castrovince joins us right now. We're going to talk about the Phillies and your expectations for them in just a second, Castro. But I want to ask you what you would caption this photo, because we were asking everyone today here on the show. It's our caption contest. I don't know if you saw this. Mike Trout and Shohei Ohtani hanging out in the golf cart around Angels camp, just driving around. They got the entourage with them. What are your thoughts on this photo?
Well, Mike Trout has a great wins above replacement mark. I hope he has good car insurance too, though, because it looks like he's about to drive that straight into a gaggle of reporters. I know the angle can be deceiving, but that's what it looks like.
Yeah, absolutely. I love this, though, and I thought it was pretty cool. We captioned it, "Hey, Shohei, I'm your chauffeur." Thought that was pretty, yeah, you like the puns. Yeah, not bad. Yeah, and we got a couple more coming later in the show, so we'll get to those. You're in Cleveland, by the way, so let's talk about the Indians. Francisco Lindor, Cisco, as he's known as right now, because that hair looks so crazy. Right. Said, we're going after it. How much do you believe that this Indians team is the team to beat in the American League, compared to the Astros and the Yankees, who did so much this offseason?
Well, I mean, the Astros are the team to beat because they're the world champs. It's hard not to be caught up in the Yankee moment with the offseason they've had, and they beat the Indians, coming back from down 2-0 in the division series last year. So, if anything, this Indians team could have that, I guess, the emotional advantage of being the underdog, so to speak, among the American League elite, because, it's a natural function of a quieter winner that no one's really talking about the Indians right now, but obviously they still return a very strong team. It's a team that has to finish, as Lindor said. They were up 3-1 in the World Series in 2016 and couldn't get it done, and up 2-0 on the Yankees in the division series last year and couldn't get it done. So I understand, his motivation and their motivation. Despite the quiet winner, they're still returning a team very clearly the favorites in the American League Central, and if healthy, there'll be a tough matchup in October as well.
I know they have a stellar rotation, and we're always really excited to see those guys on the mound. But with no Carlos Santana and no Jay Bruce, how do you think that's going to affect the team?
Well, it's going to have an impact. It's just other guys have to step up. They signed Yonder Alonso, of course. And he could be, if he's anything like he was in the first half of 2017, that'll be a really nice value signing for them. But really, what's the question mark, Alexa, is the outfield, which is just a hodgepodge of dudes who have been banged up in the not too distant past. So, of course, Michael Brantley working his way back from ankle surgery, and Bradley Zimmer was a nice catalyst for them in the second half, but he's coming back from a broken hand. Melvin Upton Jr. is in the mix out there, Lonnie Chisenhall, who was injured last year. So it's going to be interesting to see how they piece it together in the outfield.
Well, they're not going to add Carlos Gomez because he's headed to the Rays on a one-year, $4 million incentive-laden contract. Why does this move make sense for the Rays?
Well, it's hard to piece together the Rays right now because obviously they're in a state of transition, and mainly a lot of that seems associated with cost and what is the value per production. So I kind of understood the Corey Dickerson move from that perspective. And then, of course, they trade Steven Souza at a moment where they were capitalizing on his value from a strong 2017. And I think in their division, it makes sense to kind of, recast things a little bit. And they got their payroll down to where it was at the beginning of last year. And then they go and sign Gomez, which is a signal that they're not totally punting on 2018. And he had a nice year for the Rangers. But really, it's hard to know what to make of this Rays roster right now because it is kind of a lot of movement in a short time here from both the rotation and the lineup, and clearly a team in a state of transition, and clearly a team trying to pare down the payroll a little bit as they've done.
All right, we'll see how that all plays out. Castrovince, it's time to play a very special edition of Fastrovince with Castrovince. I dug through your timeline and found some very interesting tweets, so we're going to go through some of these. All good, but some of these are a lot of fun. We're going to start off with a prediction tweet that you put out. You point out that the Astros were predicted to win 77 games in 2015. They won 86. And the Phillies this year are projected to win 78 games. So which team do you think will exceed their prediction by more games? 2015 Astros or the 2018 Phillies?
Well, I still lean towards the 2015 Astros, but for those who didn't see the tweet, what that was in reference to was Pat Neshek, who was a reliever on that 2015 Astros team. and he's now with this 2018 Phillies team. He was comparing the two clubs. He thought they were very similar. The Astros, that was their first major step. They reached October that year, surprisingly so relative to the preseason projections. He sees this Phillies team as kind of in the same spot in their competitive window. So we'll see if he's right about that. The Phillies don't have a Carlos Correa and a Jose Altuve up the middle, so that's a big difference between the two clubs. But I do kind of see his overall point in that the Phillies, they look to have a really good offense this year. If what we saw from Rhys Hoskins late last season is any indication, and you mentioned Carlos Santana leaving the Indians, he goes to the Phillies, so they lengthen that lineup quite a bit. Their bullpen looks nice and deep, and Neshek is a part of that. The question is in the rotation. I don't know that rotation is going to be good enough to earn them a wild card spot. They got a lot of young guys. You have to step forward. And I love Aaron Nola. It's just a lot of question marks behind him. But if they go out and sign another one of these starters available, Jake Arrieta, Lance Lynn, or Alex Cobb, I like that Phillies team a lot more as potentially a wild card contender. But I still have them behind, in my opinion, where the Astros were in 2015.
By the way, you were at Phillies camp, and it was pretty funny because that dude JD tweeted out a side-by-side photo of Tommy Joseph and Gabe Kapler, saying one's the manager and the other guy is a 26-year-old player. I thought this was pretty classic.
That is pretty good. Yeah, Kapler sets a pretty high standard, and a truly unreachable standard, I think, even for a major league player when it comes to the physicality. It's quite a physique. We're used to the portly manager, right? And the guy. And I will say though, and other managers have pointed this out to me about Kapler. They said just give him a full season as a manager, and he's going to eat a carb at some point. It's going to happen. So we'll see what that physique looks like after a couple years as a major league manager.
Yeah, don't worry. You'll start stress eating donuts at one point. That'll happen. All right. You also tweeted out that baseball is crazy. No one obviously could have ever seen the signing of JD Martinez to the Red Sox, right? So now that this has happened, who do you believe wins the AL East this year?
Well, I'm going to go with the Yankees, and I say that. As far as I'm concerned, it's a toss-up right now. I know the narrative was that the Yankees had blown the Red Sox out of the water this winter, but I think even before the Red Sox signed JD Martinez, I still liked the complexion of their offense to have a bounce-back year. I think Mookie Betts, Xander Bogaerts, that young group, Andrew Benintendi, a full season of Rafael Devers, that's going to bode well for them. But the reason I side with the Yankees still, even after Martinez goes to the Red Sox, is just I just feel like they have better flexibility. I feel like a deeper farm system, more upper echelon talent that's ready to impact them this year, and just that's the way the game has gone. That's what's such a difference maker in a full major league season anymore. So whether those young guys like Gleyber Torres or Miguel Andujar, help them immediately on the field, or if some other pieces beyond those guys are used in a trade, I just like their ability to be flexible within the context of the season, make the moves they need to make. But as of today, I mean, they're both really strong. I think the Red Sox maybe have a little more question, just because David Price is so important to them. What's the state of his elbow? So I'm going to lean towards the Yankees.
All right, yeah, David Price and his health will definitely be a huge factor for that team this year. You wrote an awesome piece, by the way, about the teams letting their players sleep in. Why is this so important this year?
Well, it's important for the sports writers, first and foremost. Let's never lose sight of what's important in this game, and that's the sleep schedule of baseball writers. But no, I mean, it's long been this weird dichotomy between the spring training and the regular season, right? Spring training, all the games are day games, pretty much. There's night games sprinkled in, and some teams have more than others. But by and large, it's a day game atmosphere to prepare for a season of 705 games. And there's always been this kind of fake hustle of, who's going to be the first guy through the clubhouse doors every given morning at 5:30 in the morning to go start getting his work in. And we kind of lionize that in the media as, something to celebrate. But what are we doing here? I mean, why are we exhausting ourselves in preparation for the regular season? And some teams have come to that conclusion. The Yankees a couple years ago pushed back their workouts much later than any other team. And now we're seeing a lot of other teams. There's like 7 or 8 teams this year that followed suit of pushing their workouts back an hour. So it makes a lot of sense. The schedule, there's some elements of the spring training schedule that are going to continue to not make sense because it is so many day games. But they've done, sleep studies in a lot of camps and came to the determination that, hey, maybe if our guys have better rest over the course of the spring, they'll be better prepared for what's ahead in a 162-game season that's played mostly at night.
Yeah, sounds good to me. Sleep's one of the most important things to get your brain working well. Also a healthy breakfast, in case you didn't know. All right, so you love wordplay. I know that you're a big fan of puns, so we're going to have you judge a couple of your puns that you came up with recently. Which one is the better pun? Is it Residence Day weekend, which I thought was pretty good because a bunch of players found homes on President's Day weekend? Or is it Drury's Inn? When it comes
so I'm going to go with
Yankees.
Drury's Inn,
okay,
just because everybody jumped on Judge and Drury, but I thought that was too obvious. So I went, this is a next level pun, Alexa, if I might say. I mean, I think Drury Inn is next level. And when I think of the Drury Inn, I think of, unless it's changed names in the last couple of years, I don't think so. But in Kansas City, of course, when you look well beyond, the range of Kauffman Stadium, across the highway there is a Drury Inn. So that's my association with Drury Inn. But Judge and Drury is not bad. I just thought it was a little too obvious, a little too on the nose.
I just don't think Drury sounds like jury. I think the two are so far away from each other. I mean, unless you're drunk, which is totally fine if that's the case. I just think, yeah, whatever floats your boat. All right, which one of these is worse? You posted a story from back in 2014 when somebody sent Clip Lee their fingernail clippings, which is pretty awesomely disgusting. Or this photo from today that Meredith Markovitz posted of a guy barefoot in 7-Eleven.
Well, I'm going to submit a theory that this is the same guy who sent Clip Lee his fingernails. I think that's pretty obvious that if you're the type who would go barefoot in a 7-Eleven, you might just mail a picture your fingernails for some reason. I still don't know. I remember getting that tidbit in Phillies camp that day, whatever that was, 3-4 years ago. And I still don't know the context of it, why the person, I don't think there was much, whatever that person had to say in the note or whatever, I don't think it was given much attention. I think it was more grossed out by the fingernail clippings. But I think grosser, though, is walking barefoot to 7-Eleven.
Oh, my gosh. I think
that's kind of on its own plane, yeah.
Burn the floor that guy was walking on and maybe the bottoms of his feet, too. Disgusting. Yeah. All right, Castrovince. Awesomely creepy and cool today. Appreciate you joining us.
That's what he aimed for every time. Creepy and cool. That's what we're shooting for.
We'll talk soon.
All right, Alexa.
See ya.
We'll see you.
All right, we talk a lot about cool ways to spend your birthday here on the show. If you are a baseball fan, if you were born in February or March, let me tell you something. Spring training is an awesome way, not only just to spend some time, but also to spend your birthday. And one lucky fan did just that and had the absolute birthday of a lifetime. Take a look.
Happy birthday.
Thank you. All right, pretty cool. Awesome way to celebrate your birthday, and the fact that Aaron Judge obliged makes it even more special. All right, so our question of the day, we wanted you to caption this photo. What would be the caption that comes to mind when you are watching Mike Trout and Shohei Ohtani zoom around camp in a golf cart? Sean said, California, here we come, right back where we started from. Pretty good. I'm not going to sing it because people have told me that my singing is awful, even though I think it's pretty good. Renee said, riding our way to the World Series. Ooh, that's pretty good. There you go, Sean. And there's Renee's caption, because that's where they believe they are headed. That's pretty good. Lawrence said, can you believe they're thinking about bringing back the bullpen car? I can believe it, Lawrence, because this is what I want. I've been advocating for this bullpen car to come back for so long. And then one of my favorites, I believe, is Matthew. On the next episode of Comedians in Cars Getting Coffee, ... Awesome. Thank you guys so much for all of those submissions. That was really cool to see, and I really appreciate you guys joining us. Big thank you to Danny Wexman, Anthony Castrovince, and Meredith Markovitz for all of the information from the various camps as we fill you in here all spring training long. We were in Florida and Arizona, boots on the ground, so we've got to all the latest. Make sure you stay tuned. Tomorrow, 12:25 live, we're going to do it all over again. Thanks for joining us. See you then.